laughter. It helps boost your immune system and it reduces pain. It relaxes your muscles. There's a lot of benefits, physical benefits to laughter.
Think about what can make you smile. Even if you're not feeling in the laughter mood, it can kind of help at least lift your spirit a little bit.
I've even done something as simple as Googling, one-liner dad jokes, because those make me go, oh, geez, and so it does get me to laugh. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Beth Gustin, a licensed professional counselor here in Colorado, and I'm here with my co-host, Robin Ennis, a licensed clinical social worker, also here in Colorado. And today we are talking about the benefits of laughter. It really is good for your body and your soul.
It really is. And I'm glad that we're talking about this today. I think that with life being so serious, right, and a lot of stress involved, that it is really good to have a dose of laughter, like a dose of medicine. Laughter can help your immune system and your body in different ways. So I'm glad we're going to dive more into that.
Yes. And I always kind of joke around that if I can't make my clients laugh at least one time during a session, then I'm not doing my job. And that's just a personal thing I try and achieve for myself, because I feel like therapy can be really heavy sometimes and laughter is very healing. And if I can't, I can't. But, it's just a personal weird goal I set for myself.
I don't think that's weird. I think that's a good goal to have. And actually, when I'm doing my consultation calls, I like to talk about my style. And I mentioned that I think that laughter and humor is a good part of my therapeutic modality. Because some people, it's not a good approach. They don't necessarily care for it. But the majority that I've had, it's been a good talking point and it breaks the heaviness a bit. So I definitely like that. And, especially, with April Fool's Day, this topic got me thinking more about that too.
You're right, though, because laughter doesn't work for everybody. And some people need a more serious approach, which is fine. And so like you, I tend to give my clients a heads up that I have kind of a very odd, dry, and sometimes warped sense of humor. Do my best to, of course, keep it professional, obviously. Yeah, there's so many different types of therapists and styles, and there's so many different types of clients, and there's usually a good fit for everybody out there. Just keep looking.
Yep. In therapy, we're laughing with the client and not laughing at. And so that's two different things. Like in terms of humor, there's a stark difference between knowing your audience and laughing with them versus laughing at them. And I feel like laughing at them can be like a form of bullying, but that's not what we're going to talk about today.
And I'm really glad you brought that up as well, because we never laugh at, we always laugh with. And I don't typically bust out humor until I feel like I know the client relatively well. And until that point, I keep the humor more self-focused. Not like self-deprecating necessarily. I have a guide dog, and so he's in my sessions with me and my clients, and he tends to provide a bit of humor on his own. And so that can help. But yes, I think when we're discussing using humor in therapy, it is definitely more to break the ice. It's to ease tension. It is to help people feel more comfortable, hopefully. It is to help people realize that you can have moments of lightness in moments of darkness.
Yes. So Beth, I'm curious because when you mentioned your dog, it made me think of mine. So can you give an example of how your dog has unintentionally been humorous in a session?
So I tend to set the stage at my consultation calls, and I will tell my clients that I've got an 80-pound black lab. I'm a therapist. My dog has no boundaries. And so he will greet you very overzealously. He's very affectionate. And then once you're done saying hello to him, he will go take a nap and he will not say goodbye to you at the end of our session. He'll just sleep right through it. And it's kind of funny because everyone's like, he's so rude. And I'm like, I know, but he gets all his wiggles out when someone walks in the room and then just passes out. So he might crack an eye open or wag a tail or something, but at the end of a session, but he does not get up and say goodbye. And a lot of my clients just find that kind of funny because he's so exuberant when they walk in.
Right. I like that. That's really funny. Like, okay, I've introduced myself. Now I'm just going to go take my morning nap or my evening nap.
Exactly. Yeah. Or he'll dream during session, start barking and twitching and, doing the cute dream doggy sounds they make. And that usually makes people smile.
Very cute. Yeah. I like that. The benefits of humor is that it's oxytocin, right? It releases the love hormone, right? It makes us feel united with people around us. It makes us feel happy, right? And so Beth, it seems like that brings you and that client together in that space along with your dog, right? You had that shared experience of comedic relief in that moment.
Yes, it definitely boosts oxytocin and endorphins. It also reduces the stress hormones like cortisol and things like that. I always say it increases the good hormones and reduces the less helpful hormone levels.
Yes.
Not that we don't want to experience stress hormones. That's a whole different topic, though. We'll talk about that some other time. But it also actually helps boost your immune system, and it reduces pain. It relaxes your muscles. There's a lot of benefits, physical benefits to laughter, along with just it makes you feel good, mentally speaking.
Right. Yep. That brain chemical endorphins, right? Like you mentioned, Beth, it lowers the stress and the pain in your body. I read an article too where it said that when we're feeling anxious or scared, like how we have that fight or flight response. And then when our body starts to relax, then we go into like a nervous laughter. And that's our way of trying to ease or cope that what we're feeling in that body, trying to release the chemicals to make us feel better. Like, and they use the analogy of riding a roller coaster, how like people will, even though they're scared, they'll laugh. And so that's our body's responses of trying to cope with that in the moment fear that we're feeling.
Absolutely. And I think laughter has just a lot of good benefits overall. And I like the roller coaster kind of analogy too, and how our bodies respond to things. I also think it's important to seek out laughter. So not a lot of us always have things to laugh about. I can hear some of you saying, well, I don't know, like nothing's funny, nothing's good. And so I think it's important to be intentional about seeking out moments where you can laugh. So whether it's listening to, I happen to like Dr. Demento. I guess his birthday was a couple days ago. If you don't know who that is, he had a syndicated radio show where he played song parodies and just funny songs from the 40s and 50s. I think he went off the air in like the early 90s. I'm dating myself here, I know. But his show is still online and I like his stuff. It's just funny, silly funny. Or maybe you like watching stand-up comedians on Netflix or comedy skits on YouTube, or you read humorous literature, but it's finding what makes you laugh and seeking out ways to bring that into your life.
Exactly. I like watching little short videos, although it's made it in the news a lot lately within the past couple of years. I find humorous videos on TikTok, the little short ones there. They have this really funny, I don't know what breed he is, but he likes like just randomly being obnoxious. So the owner will upload videos in regards to that. And so I like pet videos. Those tend to make me smile. So think about what can make you smile. Even if you're not feeling in the laughter mood, it can kind of help at least lift your spirit a little bit. Even if it's not a lot, it's worth a try. It's worth adding to your toolbox.
Absolutely. I recently ran across a video and I can't remember a ton about it, but it was the benefits of getting a guide cat. So if you don't want a guide dog, you should get a guide cat. And it was all done, tongue-in-cheek humor and basing on cats' personalities. So if you don't want to talk to anyone, oh, good, get a guide cat because they won't let you approach anybody. They don't want to talk to people. So.
I like that.
It was cute. Made me laugh.
I have not heard of that. So that's funny. I definitely like that.
If I can find it, I will send it your way.
Okay. When I was also too looking through the articles they had mentioned, like we had already talked about, is, it's a difference between when somebody is laughing at you versus with you. And so if you are going to evoke humor when it comes to other people, because this particular article, and it was actually published by the Cleveland Clinic, and they were talking about practical jokes. And so really knowing your audience and having that level of empathy and knowing what's appropriate and what's not appropriate and crossing boundaries and all of that. So being the recipient of jokes can be good. And then also too, giving practical jokes can be funny. But if it's, again, in a way that is respectful of the other person and that they won't mind it. And it made me think of a former employer where we would play practical jokes in our department and somebody put some slimy putty in front of my keyboard and I put my hand in it and I didn't know what it was. And then I finally figured out what it was. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to get her back. And so somebody took a picture of my ear and we put pictures of my ear all in her office in random spots and even in her phone case. And she was finding ears for months. So things like that can be funny and it can bring people together because it's still, even though that was a handful of years ago, it's still one of the funniest moments that we still talk about.
That's funny.
It is. And so the significance of my ear was that I'm always listening wherever she is. I'm always there. So, all right. So we talked about the benefits of laughter. How about you try to think about within the upcoming days, weeks, or months, you can incorporate laughter into your life and whether or not it's something that you want to add to your toolbox. It definitely is, worth trying. And as we talked about today, there's a lot of health benefits associated with it.
I've even done something as simple as Googling, one-liner dad jokes, because those make me go, oh, geez, and so it does get me to laugh.
Yes.
And so, be creative with where you look for laughter.
Yes. I'm glad you said that. Yes, be creative. That is the key. As always, if you have any topics or comments, feel free to reach out to us. And we did receive a comment from an individual about pertaining to identity, how we show up in spaces and what we tend to think about or how we interpret people's actions around us and how that makes us feel. That's a really great topic. And so we're going to create a whole nother podcast segment off of that. So to the listener, thank you for sending it in. Yeah, we're going to address it in one of the upcoming podcasts.
Yes, to that listener, I appreciate your vulnerability and your honesty. I think it takes a lot of courage to give feedback, and we really appreciate that. And like Robin said, it actually brought up a really good podcast topic. So thank you for that. And we will definitely be discussing that more in depth, our identity and perception and how we show up, how we would like to be perceived versus maybe how we are perceived. There's a lot of directions we can go with that. So thank you again, and we will cover that in a future episode.
Until next time, take care, everyone.
Take care and stay grounded.
Oh yeah, Wellness Wednesday with Beth and Robin. Gonna settle it down. Oh yeah, get your feet planted on the ground.
For more podcasts with the blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to leave us some feedback, give us a call at 612-367-6093. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening, and until next time, bye-bye.
Wellness and taking care of ourselves. It's all about you and taking care of yourself. Oh yeah.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap
between the limited expectations and the reality
of blind abilities.
and the realities of blind abilities.